everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Burke.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast. I think I'm debating on taking your sound out and putting it in the Cooper. I'm debating on it right now. I don't know if I'll end up doing it, but I'm debating on it.
Oh, I mean, well, come on, let's be honest. So the Cooper sound and the Tim Allen grunt are kind of similar.
Huh?
I mean, he has the same little.
Yeah, they are. And I sent it to you guys, and only Burke responded like 12 days later after I sent that file to you. So both of you guys can, I don't like either one of you.
Fuck you, Cooper. Was that even close to Dave? I don't know. Okay.
As you can tell, it's an all boys podcast, so we're going off the rails already. Michelle's not here to guide us. Oh, wait, Michelle's here. Oh, thank goodness. Michelle, save us from our own idiocy.
Dude. So Brian.
Yes.
I know you have one obsession in life right now, and you've traded Pokemon in for Overwatch.
That's right.
And so
had to make a big change.
Yeah, I know. So you've went from IVs to skins for Overwatch characters, right?
That's pretty fair assessment.
So that being said, I get a call from Brian the other day, or call or text or whatever, mumble chat. Let's call it. We talked. Yeah. And he goes, "There's a new game that I want you to play since you have a brand new computer." I was like, "Okay, I'll try a game." He goes, "It's called Heroes of the Storm." And I went, "All right, sure. Why am I playing this?" And Brian goes, "We have to play 5 games a week for what? I don't know, what, 5 weeks, Brian?"
It's 5 weeks.
I don't know. And I'm like, how long can this fucking take? Whatever. It's a game. It can't take, multiplayer match is 10 minutes. Well, and then I learned what type of game it is. And now I'm drawing a blank here. What's the game type called?
It's a MOBA.
MOBA, that's right. And I hate MOBAs.
Yes,
absolutely hate them. Like, I've tried them in the past. Yeah, horrible. So, but at that time I'd already said, "Brian, yes, I'll play with you." So here I am, stuck playing a shitty ass game for, I don't know what. Let's go with 5 matches, 10 minutes apiece minimum. Of course, they last like 20 minutes. So at least an hour. We'll just go at least an hour a week, which is not awful. So, but last week was week 1. This week is week 2. We've already played our 5 games this week, and turns out I've played an extra maybe 10 or 15 games this week. So fuck you, Brian. Turns out. It just takes a lot of time to get used to, and I'm actually kind of enjoying this game now. What? Yeah, and the weird part was it didn't kick in until this week. Like last week, like both Brian and I were like, "Dude, fuck this game. This is bullshit."
It was awful last week.
Like we did the tutorial. We did like 3 tutorials to try to figure it out. We played against easy AI, barely won. Hard AI, or like the step up from that, got our asses handed to us. Played against people, got our asses handed to us. And then this week we're like, fuck it, let's just get this over with. We'll pick our characters. And I picked actually Diablo. So I have like a tank, and Brian has like an assassin kind of character, and we're like, we'll sabotage our team and lose.
That was the plan. Literally. The plan was to sabotage the team, to torpedo the ship.
Yes. Yeah, like seriously. Like,
let us sink into the briny deep.
Like, let's get this over with as fast as possible. Okay. We won. I was like, what the fuck? Huh? Both Brian and I are sitting there like, what? What's going on?
Completely dumbfounded, because we were trying to loot. Like, we were like, oh, you and I are going to go the opposite direction of the whole team. We're gonna go south where they're all going north, and we're just like totally wandering off in BFE
and not even like really attacking people. Yeah, we're like, okay, no, we win. So like, that wasn't bad. So we start playing. We win again and again. I think we lose 1 out of our 5 matches, and we're like,
yeah.
Okay, this is kind of fun. And then then we're trying to convince Craig to play, but he's being a responsible adult and working.
Right.
Yeah.
But like it was weird because the way you're describing it is perfect. It's like we hated it so much last week, and we started off like going into it and like today or whatever, going like, you know what, this is gonna suck. It's like pulling a band-aid. Let's just rip this thing right off. And then all of a sudden, like I know for me, one of the big turning points was, you level up in the game like each match, and then you pick a perk, and I had been picking perks based on like whatever, like I just was kind of willy-nilly picking them, and so this time I kind of read through them and I was like, it would be a lot more beneficial to double my range on this move. I guess I could do that, and I did that, and I was like, oh, well, let's try this. Okay, well, this worked. And the next thing you know, it's like, Burke, I'm going to flank left and take out this tower. You go ahead and swoop from behind. Swoop from behind.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just a tank. I will deal the damage. You fire from afar, and it worked. Like
it worked.
And then we had like one of Brian's favorite characters from Overwatch, because it is a Blizzard game. So we had Lucio with us, and I was like invincible. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was amazing having a Lucio.
It was like, oh my god, team comp matters. Team comp matters. It's fucking Overwatch. Oh shit. and
they even had you can play the Overwatch map this week.
Yeah, I ended up playing quite a few more times.
There's an Overwatch map.
Yeah. You have to push a payload and everything.
Oh, really?
It's kind of fun.
What are the characters that are Overwatch?
Tracer, Genji, Zarya, Lucio.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
And like they have the same. They have the same powers.
Diva coming soon, supposedly. I think.
Yeah, I mean, but Lucio being a healer, like he got speed. He has speed boost, pump up the jam. All the moves that are in Overwatch are in there.
Even drop the beat.
He can drop the beat. Like Zarya can shield yourself and friends. It's pretty cool.
It is kind of cool.
People just to drop over and be like, "Hey, we got more of those microtransactions in this game
they
too."
Do because guess what happens when you level up in that game, Craig? You get loot boxes
with skins and characters and everything,
sprays and banners and rides and mounts. And oh my god, it was too funny.
So anyways, that's the. That was the surprise of the week, and actually our topic for the week as well was things that we thought we hated or don't like that we now kind of don't mind doing or actually like.
Yeah, I mean, I can liken this. If I was going to kick it off, I'll kind of liken this to my aversion to and now love of sushi. Like when I
love sushi.
Sushi, that's another one.
I know.
I could have added that on there too.
Sushi, man.
I had saw sushi many times, and I looked at it and I was like, no chance. That stuff's gross. You're eating raw fish. It's like I looked at it like I looked at it like watching Lord of the Rings, watching like Smeagol like beat the fish on the rock and then eat it. I'm like, that's what that is. Like
raw and wiggling.
That's exactly how I saw sushi, and so I was like, I'm never gonna eat sushi. And sure enough, I was on a business trip and I went to a Japanese steakhouse restaurant and I was like starving out of my mind. I walk in and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but the steakhouse side of it, like where they do the whole normal thing, is totally booked. You can't get it back there for another like 45 minutes, or you can go to the sushi bar and you can order from the normal menu there as well. But you're going to be at the sushi bar." I go, "Screw it. Yeah, I'll sit at the sushi bar." So I sit there and I start talking to the guy behind the counter, and the guy behind the counter convinces me. He's like, "Look, you've never tried sushi?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "You got to try some. I'll give you some for free. Like, I won't even charge you for this. Just give it a shot."
Free
damn
food?
Dealer.
I'll try it anyway.
Damn dealer. he pulled the first hits free sort of shit. And I'm like, I try it. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. By the end of the night, I tried every single piece of sushi the guy was offering, like even the weirder stuff. And I was like, this is, it's all good. Oh, it's incredible.
Every single one of them is
I'm
good.
amazed because I didn't even like fish. Like that was like in high school. Like it was like peanut butter and jelly and cow. Like that was my food. Like no vegetables, no nothing. Like fish every once in a while, maybe some chicken. Like I could do chicken if it was cooked the right way, but like no. And then I think I went to college and came back and they're like, my family's like, "You got to try this sushi." I'm like, that sounds gross. And
sushi.
Oh my God, is it not good? Oh.
I remember, I don't know if you remember, Brian, I didn't start eating sushi till I was living with you, and it was actually near the end of before I moved out. It was only like 2-3 years ago that I started eating sushi. And I don't know what it was or what made me try it or how I did it. I want to say that I was at a Japanese steakhouse, like a hibachi restaurant. And one of my friends went through and like ordered some sushi and they're like, hey, do you want to try this? And it wasn't until about, I would say roughly when you and I moved in together, like a little bit after that I kind of really started going, like expanding my ideals in any potential way. I was very much stuck in like how I was basically since high schoolish, you know, so I didn't really think of anything until, you know, and then like, of course, like I said, the friend goes, hey, do you want to try this? And I was like, okay, I'm about a year or two into, hey, I'm going to try things. Like if I don't like it, it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm sacrificing ideals to try things out or to think different things too. So I was like, all right, try this. And I tasted it. I was like, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. I got to have it. And it ended up being, and I don't remember if Brian remembers this, and it ended up being whenever we'd sit down and watch the Lions games, because we used to watch the Lions games together, I would get sushi for Lions games. For football games. I'd go and get sushi because I thought it was hilarious thinking about like, you normally think these people that are going out to watch football games is like finger foods, beer, wings, all this type of stuff. And I'm going out and getting sushi. I thought the dichotomy of those ideals just kind of made me giggle, so I started doing it over and over again. Yeah. So y'all know I moved to Denver recently. Everyone does. So right, I promised myself when I got up, I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna miss sushi from Houston." It's because it was just so good, and I was like, "Damn it, I'm not gonna eat sushi. No matter how many restaurants are out here." I was like, "I'm not gonna fucking eat sushi. It's in the middle of the country. It's gonna be gross. Just no." So I'm not my first day. My second day at work, I'm like, where am I going to eat today? And like no one was in the office because it was like a holiday week. And I was like, shit. So I started walking and I found like this protein bar. I was like, that sounds good. I'll go get some protein. So I start walking down the road and I look to my right and there is a cart in this middle of a square, you know, or like a little whatever in front of a
like a kiosk,
like a food cart, like a not a food truck because it's not like a truck, but it was actually a cart, you know, like
a hot dog vendor cart.
Like a little bit bigger than that because like there were actually people inside of the cart. Think of probably about maybe 10 feet long and, you know, just as wide as a regular truck and sitting on two wheels, just a trailer. So and I was like, and the line was, I'm not kidding, probably 25, 30 people deep. And I was like, the fuck is this? And I look at it and it's a sushi food cart. And I'm like, fuck it. What? So I'm not kidding. I wait 30 minutes in this line to get sushi because it takes about a minute a person for this lady and her little helper to make the sushi. And oh my God, was it worth it? It is some of the best sushi I have ever had in my life from a cart in Denver in the fucking in the middle of winter. Like it's like 50 degrees outside and they're just like freezing in this thing making sushi. But apparently this girl like travels to Japan to learn how to make sushi. And it is incredible.
That's wow. Holy crap. I mean, some of the best lobster I ever had, though, I believe it because some of the best lobster I ever had was actually out of a food truck in New York. They had this thing called a place called Red Hook, and what they did was they were famous for their lobster, so they opened up a food truck that was called Red Hook Food Truck or some basic name like that, and they would go to these special events. For one sandwich it was like $20. Imagine that.
Wow.
But best $20 you'll ever spend.
Yeah.
It was totally worth it.
Was there has there ever been a time when you've gotten sushi and it wasn't very good?
Yeah. I mean, grocery store sushi.
I've actually had some decent sushi from there, but it's
I've gotten it to where it's the, you know, picking it up from a Kroger or something like that, and you're like, oh, this is technically sushi. But there's one time that it was a little bit different than that. There's this place right nearby my house, and it's one of those places they've got like a conveyor belt that goes around, and you can literally pick up the sushi off of the conveyor belt. Every single one of those things that I picked up was terrible because it tasted like it's been on that conveyor belt for like, I don't know, 3 days. It was just like everything. It wasn't like cooked warm. It was like, you know, everything was room temperature, and the rice felt like it was like super dried out at that point, and just, like everything was just bad. It just seemed like it was really old sushi. But
rice makes
I didn't
the sushi
get sick from it, but
the rice makes the sushi.
It was not good. I did not enjoy that. But other than that, almost every sushi experience I've had since then has been a positive one in general.
I don't mean to make this a sushi podcast, but out of curiosity, have you guys seen Jiro Dreams of Sushi, the documentary? It's
Can't say that
basically it's an entire documentary about a guy who literally has spent his life dedicated to the perfection of sushi. It's kind of awesome, and you watch it and you watch his thoughts, methodologies, and everything else, and it's well worth a watch. If you even semi enjoy sushi, get sushi, watch that, and realize that you're eating shit sushi comparatively.
So I've got something that's a little different than food that I'd like to go into, if you guys don't mind. For something that I originally thought I was going to absolutely hate, and I was adamant against this in every possible way. I bought stickers for the back of my car. I was so adamant against this. And then
Let me guess. Hanging out with me.
Yes, right. Exactly. I was like, no, Burke. It said Burke with the Ghostbusters no symbol right on top of it. No, it was the iPhone.
Oh,
I was an adamant iPhone hater. Like before, it was right when the Androids came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is real." I had no opinion on iPhones before that. Androids came out, I was like, "That looks like a cool phone. I like tech. I like new stuff. I'm gonna get this Android. That looks really cool." And it was like, as soon as that Android entered my hand, I was like, "Fucking Apple elitist, them and their little fucking conformities."
Yep.
It was like I turned into a stereotype of hating Apple products.
I'm totally with you, man.
And then I went through at one point, and the phone slowed down, and I'm not trying to make anything against the Android phones, but it was like the Droid, the very first Droid. It slowed down after like 6 months. It became unusable basically, and then I switched over to a BlackBerry, one of the like later model Blackberries at the time, and then I had that for probably I went to a Windows phone after that. Excuse me. I went to a Windows phone for like 6 months. That thing broke basically again, where it was literally, it was hanging up so much, not hanging up like in terms of calls, but like a computer locking up so much. It was unusable again. And so I was like, fuck. And so I literally, in the span of 1 year, I probably had 3 phones. And that's when I went to a BlackBerry. And I held on to that one until I completely was out of time. You know, this is back in the two-year contract days. So I held on to that thing for as long as possible. And then I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to try this iPhone thing.
Before you do that, before you go to that, I remember you calling me going, Burke, will you still be my friend? Like, I'm going to tell you something. Because we were both on this like Android or anything but fucking iPhone. We hated Mac.
Like I'm not joking. I had a picture of the Android taking a piss on an Apple logo.
Oh yeah,
on the back of my vehicle.
The Calvin and Hobbes style.
Yeah, it was such a fucking childish thing. Now that I look at it,
like, please don't think me a traitor. Please don't. And I did.
And I remember begging Burke, because I remember Burke being, you know, him and I were very adamant against Apple phones and Apple products in general. And then I remember going through, I bought it and I used it. And after like a year and a half, I was like, I really like this.
Yeah.
It just felt like nothing really went too wrong with it. It was just a ton of fun. It worked. And then I found the art of jailbreaking phones during that point. So now all the complaints that a lot of Android people have against the iPhone, which is like, oh, it's the same phone, everybody gets the same exact thing, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, now I've got customization, but all the core components work perfectly with each other, and I can do these little small things to do it. And so, I mean, I don't know if this is true. Is this true, Burke? I've heard this. This is just hearsay, that a jailbroken iPhone has more options than a rooted Android.
I honestly...
Or does that make sense at all to you? Because it seems like it didn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. It seems like both should be equal. Like the only way you could say is if there's
quote unquote free.
Yeah, that was my idea, but somebody told me, and it wasn't. And the only thing I could think of was, well, maybe there's more people developing for jailbreak.
That would
so
be
that
my
might
point.
Be a
that would be my
possibility.
point, because they're both like, you know, you get root access to the phone, and you can do whatever you want, whatever your programming ability is, and whatever's out there. So I think it comes down to developers.
The only thing that I heard, and again, this is why I was asking you, and I still don't believe it, but I'm still trying to look it up to see if there's any valid information behind it. Is somebody said that even with getting root on an Android phone, there's still something you couldn't do that iPhones can get when they get root. I don't know.
So you're saying that it's like America. Other countries may be free, but we are the freest.
But to get off that, it's not even the jailbreak thing. Just ever since then, I'm like, yeah, I really like my iPhone, and I really love jailbreaking.
Yeah.
And that makes a big part of it. But just the iPhone has worked. So I mean, I've had this phone for 2.5 years now, and it still like works beautifully.
It is exactly that's my thing too. Like I seriously have both phones. I have an iPhone, not the latest. I don't have iPhone 7. It's iPhone 6 and then a Samsung 7, Galaxy 7. Like I hate the Samsung interface, but I still love my Android phone. But that being said, I think I will always have a iPhone for personal use. Like it's just there's just a few apps that I like better on that phone. I have apps on both phones, but it's just one of those, it lasts longer.
Yeah, I mean, you could skip the 7 though. I mean, I have a 7 and you can skip it.
Do you not like it?
No, I mean, I don't hate it or anything. It's fine. The only I love the battery life on it. The issue I have with the 7 is that the lack of that, like the audio port.
Oh, a 3.5 millimeter.
Yeah, because I mean, now I have a Bluetooth headset, which eliminates the problem, sort of, but also not really. Like, it's just one of those things where, for convenience purposes, I really would have just preferred, like, just keep the damn port. Just keep the port. Like, and then they go at their conference, they have to do we removed it because we're bold. And it's like, no, you did it because you're an asshole. Like, anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the things where I can easily see everyone else's complaint, but I don't use that port at all.
Yeah, I do. So
yeah,
for my phone,
I don't. I use Bluetooth for everything, and I mean, I have the port, and the port sucks on the iPhone too. That's one of the problems I have with it. But like, I understand why, because it's an old technology.
It's a very old technology.
I'm cool with pushing forward. So
yeah.
Technically, I do use it. My car is a 3.5. But before I used to leave my car unlocked all the time, everywhere for years. I've been doing that, and then somebody went through and stole. I had all this shit in my car, a laptop and all this other stuff in my car. They stole an iPhone charger and a little Bluetooth guy where I could connect my phone to my car, like the Bluetooth connected to the 3.5.
Yeah, I had one of those,
and then just output audio that way. And I mean, it was like, it was literally $15, I think. And they stole that and the charger. I was like, oh, wow, you guys had a literal $800 laptop in the back seat, and you guys went for the $30 worth of items in the front seat. It made me giggle.
So I'm going to, or do you have anything else, Craig? Sorry. So I'm going to continue talking about phones because it's going to lead me into my next thing I thought I wouldn't like. So my new car, it has sync or whatever for the phone, so you can hook your phones in and like interface.
Yeah, Bluetooth enabled.
Well, it's that, and if you plug it in, like it has Android Auto and iPhone Auto. So one thing that actually surprised me is I like the Google phone in that instant better, because it doesn't force me to use Apple Maps, which is god awful. I'm telling you, I can search for a fucking McDonald's and it will lead me to the fucking opposite side of Denver, and there's one a block and a half away. I will go, hey Siri, directions to the closest McDonald's, and I'm driving 50 miles. It's awful.
What?
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I've never used Apple Maps. I always use Waze and Google Maps. So
exactly.
I only use Apple Maps.
You're missing out. There could be a closer shitty Chipotle. It may have a Qdoba sign, but
I guess here's the thing though. I don't just aimlessly search on the Apple Maps though. Like I always know the exact destination I'm going to when I search for it.
Yeah,
like I don't ever ask for directions to like random places.
I live in a new city and I kind of need that GPS until I really learn the streets.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that leads me to my next one. Is I swore on my father's grave in a couple years, whenever he dies, I would never have a Ford, because fuck Fords. Found on Red Dead, fucked or repaired Dodge, and Brian, sorry, but I will never have a Mustang just because fuck Mustangs.
Okay. Hey, ouch, hurts a little, but okay.
But I have a Ford now, and it is the most fun car I have ever had in my life. It is yeah. So I have the Ford Focus RS, right, which can beat your car, by the way, Brian. And Like little
Wow.
4-cylinder turbocharged car with 350 horsepower all-wheel drive. It moves. It's fun to drive. It's bumpy as all hell. But the only reason I thought about buying this car was because I drove one as a rental car in Europe because they weren't over here until this year. It's just a great car. That's all I gotta say.
It's got a lot of good speed and handling and everything else you want.
I can't say it better than this. It's just a fun car to drive, and I even had a Nissan 240SX. I mean, I've had a lot of fun little sporty 4-cylinder cars. This tops it hands down.
Huh. Well, I mean, kind of sticking with the phone theme, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of piggyback off that. To an app I thought I was gonna hate, Pokemon Go. No, really, I thought I was gonna I went into Pokemon Go expecting to hate it. I was not looking forward to it. As big of a Pokemon guy as I am, I was like, that's not my Pokemon. I don't like this. And they go, battling is by flicking your flicker. I still have never done a single battle in that game ever, but it's one of those things where like I expected to legit just have rage against this thing, right? But at the end of the day, everyone has quit playing, but not me. Oh. I still play. That's all. And I just chug along, and I just hit level 21 yesterday, which I know is not a lot, but considering that I live in the boondocks where I literally just like my most exciting thing is hatching eggs because it gives me something to look forward to in my runs. I do a 6-mile run, and so like every either the 2K, 5K, or 10K egg, like everyone like once in a while my phone will go and I'm like and I just stop my run and I stop and look at my phone. I'm like, this is the moment, and then it hatches and it's a Zubat. I'm like, fuck, and then I just put a new egg in the incubator and I start running again.
That's awesome.
And that's my routine. But it literally is just for that reason alone. It's wildly entertaining to me, and I don't understand why. I have never done a battle. I have no idea about any of my Pokemon's like inherent values in that game. Like I don't understand I've never gotten a coin. I don't know. I just like it because I can hatch eggs, and it's kind of like I'm like, ooh, I don't have one of those. Great.
I'll actually agree with you on that one because I thought it was going to be stupid too.
It pretty much hit the exact stride of where because if I didn't have Arc preceding it, I thought it would have been the game that I was going to play forever. Arc has taught me a lot about myself to where I love learning the game. I love learning new games. Like I love learning and playing games. And then as soon as it becomes kind of like a routine, I'm done. Like at the point where I'm doing basically the same thing over. I have to do the same thing over and over and over again to then finally get to the new thing.
It's like work.
I kind of lose that like, oh, because beforehand it's like, oh, you go through and when you first start a game like Arc or Pokemon Go, it's you're leveling up, you're catching new Pokemon. It's like you're just getting these hits of dopamine constantly, like fuck yeah. And then it starts slowing down. I'm like, okay, I'm having a little bit less fun. And then it's like, oh, well, you got to put in like 20 hours worth of work to get this new thing that's only a little bit better than what you have now.
Oh yeah.
And at that point I'm like, no, I had fun. I'm good.
Well, and that's just it.
That's kind of where that was.
I've earned every single experience point that I've gotten. I mean, let's be honest here. Like Craig, you know where I live, and it's in how how many Pokestops we talked about this 100 years ago. I literally have to do these runs because I'm like, this is the only way I'll get experience ever. Like.
Right.
Oh God. But that was one of the ones I had on my little mental list there.
Here's one, and people might find this, if they know me, they might find this a little confusing, is one of the things I didn't think I was going to like and ended up liking was the, to start off, the Arrow TV show. The DC show Arrow on CW. Okay. I heard about it and I remember Mike saying like, yeah, I really liked it. And I was like, I don't know. Cause he said he watched like the first season or something like that. And that was it. Like he didn't say he watched everything or anything like that. But I remember just sitting there going like, I don't know. It just sounds, he wasn't like the A cast. He wasn't the star-studded cast that I would think of in a DC TV show. I'm thinking Smallville. That was Superman. That was Clark Kent. And I'm thinking, they're like, it's not Batman. It's not Wonder Woman. It's not Green Lantern. It's not Justice
Not even
League.
Aquaman.
Even though Green Arrow kind of does some stuff with the Justice League here and there, but like that's not the Justice League. He's not part of that. And so now you're like, oh, well, it's kind of, and this is before like Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot of these other, you know, kind of, I'll say B movies started releasing in theaters and whatnot. So I didn't think I was going to like that. And then I started watching it and I really liked it. And I was like, wow, this is actually really good. And it kind of got me into where when they introduced, you know, spoilers here for a show in its 5th season, but season 2, they introduce Barry Allen, you know, the Flash, in like a mid-season. And that was like their what do they call it? Back end or subvertive plot, or, you know, like
secondary,
pilot, whatever
yeah.
It's like they kind of made a pilot about it, like, hey, look how everybody responded type thing. I can't remember the exact word off the top of my head, but you know, they did that, and I was like, and then as soon as I saw that, I go, I'm gonna like that show. And from there, I've realized, I'm like, every single one of these that they come out with, I'm probably gonna end up liking right off the bat. And it's funny now because Arrow's like, in my book, and I'm not saying it's terrible, but comparatively to the other DC TV shows, it's by far the worst nowadays. But that kind of goes back to I feel like I've learned everything about the character ish, you know, like you've learned. I really like when you see characters evolving, like they're learning their craft. I haven't been a superhero very long. I really like that learning curve. And then once they're like, I've learned it, now I have to deal with the stuff that I am when I'm a superhero. I'm like, yep. And I'll flip to the next channel.
Well, you say that, and yet the Flash, it's like, you have to run, Barry, run faster. And he's like, I how much faster can I? Okay.
That's the thing, though. I'm starting to get bored of Flash, but I really like Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow right now, which are still in their infancy. So I feel I'm
Supergirl.
I like Supergirl. I like Supergirl and Legends. They're my favorite.
No, time out. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing to like Supergirl. I'm saying that you think that she's less developed than like she is one of the most complete heroes overall. Like mentally, like she has her hiccups here and there, but for the most part, she's like, I don't ever like, she doesn't ever like laser eye a building down and be like, oopsie doodle. Like,
no, I'm sorry. I didn't explain it very well. Like, you're going on this beginning journey with them. So it's like everything they do is sort of new. They bring in a character. It's like a new character, but it's not this. And we kind of talked about this in our own conversations about the like Caverns and Creatures books, where like book 4 just felt to me like it was just, there's so many characters. It's like, okay, I'm not having fun with this. I liked it when it was a core group and they were all doing their thing initially, you know. It might not be them like learning to be a superhero, but I was just using that as the example. It's like the first couple seasons of a show, you're still learning about that character in this particular, you know, environment and all that kind of stuff. And it just, I feel like it kind of runs out after a little bit. And that's what that's what the Flash is doing, running out. Anyway,
but not fast enough.
I still really do like Flash. I really not stopped, but it started going downhill for Arrow for me, like in season 3 and 4. You're like, it's just not as fun to watch for me.
Yeah, it's funny though, because you brought up the Caverns and Creatures. I didn't think I was gonna like that at first. You know, like I really didn't like initially when you explained the concept to me. Like, I got to be honest. I know you worked in sales, but you did a really shitty job selling that book initially. It was just one of those things. Like, you're like, oh yeah,
that's why I'm in sales now. Totally not why I got out of it.
You're like, you know, it's about a couple of guys that get they're in a world and shit happens. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I listen to it. I'm like, and then I end up liking it. But you know, something that those guys drink a lot of on that show is something that I did not expect that I was going to like, which is beer.
Stone piss. Damn it.
Yeah. But no, for real, I as much as I, you know, love beer and I love the you know, I've become a bit more like, I want to use the word, I'm more cultured when it comes to drinking, you know. It's not something that I thought that I was going to like when I was a kid. Beer to me was like the worst of the worst. I remember having a beer when I was a kid. You know, it was one of those deals where, you know how when your parents take you and they say, here you go, have a sip of this.
Yeah.
And they hand you their beer, and it was like a Bud Light or something like that. And I tasted as a kid, that's yucky kind of thing. So in my head,
but as you're drinking Coors right now, you don't have room to talk.
I'm not drinking Coors tonight. I was desperate. I was lonely and desperate. But you brought my shame to light. Anyway, but the point is that I just remembered that awful taste of beer, and I was like, I'm never going to be a beer drinker. Like, that's not my thing. And then I was wrong.
I'm the same. I joined a fraternity, right? What do they drink? Beer, right? I think it was like Miller Lite and whatever. I always drink the blue drink that we always made, or whatever the fuck it was that got you fucked up real fast, like
Stone Piss.
Yeah, pretty much Stone Piss. But like, didn't like beer. Like I tried it because it was always the shitty beer, and then like, and funny enough, like my mom probably kill me if I said this on a podcast. Don't care, she won't listen. Like, adamantly hates beer, doesn't even like any type of alcohol, won't drink it. She was up here, and like, Denver's pretty well known for its craft beer and whatnot, so we went to the little craft place, sat down, I go, here, try this. She tried it, she goes, oh, that's good. I go,
oh my God.
know. She goes, can I have another? I don't think I've ever seen my mom intoxicated before that night, and that was just a couple of months ago. Like, I was like, it was like, and that's how beer is for me, and it's one of those things, like, if it's really good, like, not an IPA, because that's what I hate, like a good stout, I can't pass. It's hard to pass up, let's put it that way.
A good stout, like, I have a specific, it would have been 2 years ago. I remember I was on a project, it was a 2-week project, and every night at the hotel, we'd come back from a long day of work, and I would eat dinner at the hotel, like, restaurant thing, right? Yeah. But it was in the heart of a brewing city, and so on tap they always had like the specialty brewed beer for 2 weeks straight. Every night I would come back to the hotel. I was giddy. I was like, please, I'm like I can't wait to have this. And it was it was in February, so it was really cold, and I had these big tall glasses of stout, and I'm just like, this is the greatest life I could ever ask for.
yeah. I think my discovery for beer was probably when I was over in Scotland for like 3 months, because like I would have beer at the office if they would have it, but it would be one of those, it's social, I'll just drink it, so I can stand being at work after hours with these people, like that
makes sense.
That was it, like,
makes sense.
And so I went overseas, and if anyone doesn't know about Scotland, they're fucking drunks. and ask any of them, they'll fucking admit it. I'm fucking drunk. Like, that's what they are. Like, I all the flights I took out of Scotland when I was traveling around, I sat next to a drunk guy who stayed up all night drinking, just got on the plane. He was like, yeah, we have a problem. Like, this,
I'm just laughing because I was picturing, like, you were gonna say, every flight I took out of there, the pilot was smashed. And he's like, buckle up.
But no, I mean, like, so I was out at breweries and whatnot, and or getting scotch, which I found out I liked there too, because I absolutely hated whiskey from the stateside. Because I was drinking Jack, and Jack sucks. But so like, we were, and they had craft beer all over the place, and that's when I started drinking beer, and now I love it. And now that I'm doing low carb diet, I miss it. So
it's missing. Yeah, I know what you mean, because beer, when you have it every day, it's like one of those things you said with the low carb thing. That's
I know.
Yeah, I know. But you say you hate Jack, and that's sad.
I say I hate Jack. It's my flavoring for burgers. I made burgers last night, and it's got Jack in it, so I always have a bottle of Jack.
Well, there you go.
That's what it's for. Like, and I mean, I've been to Lynchburg, Tennessee, and seen the factory. That was like the first distillery I ever went to, and it was awesome seeing it there. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't drink the stuff. It's just gross.
By the way, for those of you wondering the definition of the difference between Scotch and whiskey, it's I have it pulled up right here. It is geographic, but also the ingredients and spelling. Scotch is whiskey. It is a whiskey, Scotch is, but it's made in Scotland, while bourbon is whiskey made in the USA. Generally, Kentucky is the area for that. Yep. Scotch is made mostly from malted barley, while bourbon is distilled from corn. So that's the difference between them.
The barley. Oh, and especially you get this Islay peaty scotches. Oh, That's an acquired taste, but that is good.
I want Burke to take me on a Scotch taste tour. Like I want to make that happen. Fuck me, I can't speak. Jesus Christ, he's so excited. He's so excited to talk about it.
Now I just want to go get my bottle of Scotch that's sitting right fucking behind me. I'm looking at it, going, my mouth's watering. So like, no, but my wife felt the same way. You know, like over here in the States, what do you do with whiskey? You take a shot, like, as you're younger. Now it's like, you know, you drink it over ice. But we went there and they taught me how to drink it, and you sniff it 3 times, and they taught why you sniff it 3 times, and then you taste it, and then you taste it again, and it's just, and you don't put any ice in it. You maybe put a drop of room temperature water in it, and man, it's amazing.
I want Bert to teach me. I want to be the apprentice here.
I'm by no means an expert, but it's you know. It's just a different league of stuff. And like, yes, I have now found good whiskey over here in the States, but it's not like Jack. It's good
whiskey.
All of that sounds horribly disgusting to me. Every bit of that. I just can't do pretty much anything with alcohol unless if it's so, I'll say watered down with sugar, even though that technically doesn't make sense. But if it's not just completely packed with sugar, diluted, and like some really, like it's like, oh, there was alcohol in here, but the sugar grams to alcohol content's like 4th billion to nothing.
you want your drinks to be more likely to give you diabetes than get you drunk.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically the only way I can drink. So I can't do into that. God. But I've got something that's a little bit different than the food and some of the other stuff. Something I thought I would never get into, and this is from childhood, basically. Something I didn't think that was possible for me to do this. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about just thinking differently and thinking more openly about things was, and I'll put it this way, I'm going to put it in quotation marks, but like a more quote liberal mindset. And I'm not saying full on like whatever, like I don't want to go into like those types of labels, because if I had to, I'd say I'm more moderate. Like I'm a little bit more liberal on social issues, but I'm a lot more conservative on like financial and economic type things. And it still bounces like back and forth. Like it depends upon every specific
flip flopper.
Yeah.
A flip flam.
Basically. Every specific point can have a different ideal behind it, you know? And anyway, but like that was something that was, because I grew up in a very conservative household, and, you know, everything was this way. And, you know, when you're a kid, you believe in Santa Claus. So like, of course, you're going to believe kind of like your parents.
You take on your parents' ideals.
Political beliefs too. So like you just kind of take that on. And I remember just growing up, that's kind of how it was. And then just from then you start thinking, you go, hold on, let me actually think about this for a real quick second. Let me try and put this into perspective. And there's certain things it just kind of has changed over. We're like, oh, yeah, I don't really like what I used to like or what I used to think on this one. And so it's something that I kind of like that about myself now, is kind of
that you choose what do I actually believe in that?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I choose to try and research something before I just blindly jump into it. I'm sure I still do blindly jump into things. I'm a human. I'm unfortunately unable to be completely perfect on all this stuff, but it's just, that was one of the things that like has drastically changed. And I did not think in any way I would ever like anything that was even slightly towards the left. Not on the left. I said towards the left.
Yes.
Those damn liberal conservatives.
I know. Oh yeah.
So it's just
being from the South.
It's something that drastic. Yeah, it's something that drastically changed.
Being from the South, I bet you can't guess where I sat either. Saying y'all and growing up in church all the time. Yeah, down with Obama, down with all this stuff. I can actually tell you where the shift happened. Like, you know, I remember being in Nashville, which is still fairly, well, Nashville's, you know, more democratic, but because it's the capital, but it's a red state, right? Let's be honest, it is a red state. And I was like,
yeah, only 99% though.
I mean, I lived with a Yankee who was just straight blue, and I was like, all right, sure, whatever. And it's like, I remember when Obama got elected the first time, I was like, fuck, the world's over. You're like, seriously. I was like, fuck it. I was like, god damn. And then 4 years later, I was like, whatever. He's not the Antichrist, right? Like, in my mind, that's how it was. It was like, oh my god, we're gonna die. He's a socialist, you know. I was like, yeah, there was shit I didn't like, but, you know, There was shit I didn't like about Bush. There's shit I didn't like about Clinton. There's shit I don't like about Trump. What do you know?
It's funny that you say that. I mean, that's pretty much not exactly what happened to me, but it was in Nashville when I first went down here for school. And it wasn't exactly when you and I were living together, but it was just over the whole course of that, just dealing with everybody. Because at least when I was in, it's going to sound weird, but like here in Goodrich, it's decently split. I say here in Goodrich, I'm not there anymore, but I mean, comparatively to some other spots, like if you're down here in the South, there's a lot of areas that are not really split. It's very much, no, this is the whole thing. And so I think that helped out to where beforehand, you know, I mean, we had one of our buddies, Brian, he was very much a
true blue,
a true blue guy growing up. And so like he always kind of did that. And I was always like the hardcore red. Not that I really paid that much attention and really had that many actual
I know, right?
Like opinions on it.
I was literally just parroting what my dad would say. But like it was still split. Like you still felt like there was a split in a sense there, where it didn't feel like you were just everybody said the same thing. Like, no, everybody thinks this. It was, you know, I got different ideals from everybody on that. And then when I went to Nashville to go to school, it was like everybody was the same exact fucking person,
except for that one guy in our fraternity.
Anyway, so, but like everybody felt like it was the same exact person. I'm not joking. You went to anybody at the school, you highlighted them, hit Control C, Control V, and then changed their name. That's how it felt to me. Like I was like, holy shit, this is just, they are carbon copies. Like, I mean, obviously there were differences, but it seemed like everybody was this, it came from this, they were very morally on the high ground on everything. They wanted you to know that they were on the moral high ground of everything. And they had very affluent of parents behind them. Like that's how it seems like everybody was. And I can't say that I wasn't probably too much like that. You know, growing up, I don't know. I'd let everybody else judge me on that one. And I don't care. You guys can judge me. I could give a shit. But like, it was when I got there, I went, whoa, this is really weird. Like everybody thinks the same exact thing. And whenever there's any conversations, it's just everybody piling on top of each other, saying the same exact thing. I was like, I don't like this. And so it
wasn't a discussion. It was
an echo chamber. I didn't know the term for it then, but it was just this echo chamber where everybody's trying to yell over each other on how much they held this opinion more than the other person right next to them. I'm like, what in the blue hell is happening here? Actually, the red hell.
Luckily, I had friends that weren't all on that side, so that's how I didn't feel that way. but it was. It was.
But I'm not even saying like. Obviously, there were like you said, the one guy that you lived with was like that, and he was, you know, he brought in different ideals. But for the most part, like everybody, if you took a selection and randomly picked one person, you were more than likely going to pick somebody that had the same, like pretty much everybody had the same idea. So
I noticed that a lot when I traveled, especially like when I would travel between different areas, because you get very different opinions when you're in South Carolina than when you're in New York.
Totally.
I mean, in South Carolina, like they saw me pull up in my work car. My work car is a little Honda. And they're like, they go, who's the hippie with the with the Honda? And I'm like, and I go, it's a hybrid. It helps me with my gas mileage. They're like, oh, what a loser. And I'm like, okay, I can see how this is gonna go. And he's like, I got 3 guns and in my car right now. And I'm like, we're on a hospital. That's technically illegal to have a gun on hospital property. While my brother carries a gun, but he's smart enough to not put it on hospital property. Like, they go, let them try to take it. I want them to try to take my gun. And I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm like, I gotta get the hell out of here. and so then I go to New York, and it's the exact opposite. It's the hipsters on the street, you know, and they're like, oh, we're so much better than everybody, and we know how the government should be run. I'm like, how? And they're like, I don't have a real idea. I just have a thing I know.
If I can go back real quick, I just wanted to put this out there, and you guys can still make fun of me. I don't care, because there's other things that I'm this exact way on about it. But that's always just been one of the things that has completely baffled me. Is like you were saying earlier, Burke. You're like, oh, you know, I am. You know, it's Ford sucks. It's always whatever. company X, and up here it's like what it's GM over Ford or Chevy over Ford or whatever you want to say. I don't know.
GM owns Chevy, but
right. That sounds. I don't remember the exact, but it's like fuck Ford. It's all GM, and I'm like, I could give one shit either way. One, they all look the same to me in essence. Like, if I actually look and I see the thing says Ford on the front and the other one has like the GM, I can really tell. But if I just real quick go look to the right for a quarter of a second, look back, I go, I don't know, it was a truck, I think.
It was blue.
It had 4 wheels and a motor.
And it just everybody's always so like, holy shit, this is this car over this car, and it has always completely baffled me. I'm like, I don't know. I can see if you were like working for one of the companies, you've got company loyalty, which happens a lot in Michigan because there's a lot of plants. But past that point, like, who the fuck cares? But then again, I was the Apple, the Android guy over the Apple. So I know how it can just be instilled with you to be kind of stupid. But now I look at it and go, really, in all of these things, if somebody wants to buy a fucking Mac computer over a PC, they're paying more money, but I'm sure they really don't feel like putting together like all the effort I would put to getting a cheaper running version. I'm like, who the fuck cares anymore? I just don't give a shit.
Yeah. So
too old to care.
Are you killing people? No. Okay. Are you hurting people? No. Then who the fuck cares? Just have fun. Go do whatever you want.
It's the Homer Simpson from the Halloween special where he goes where Bart and Lisa come running and Dad, we screwed up. He goes, did you wreck the car? They go, no. He goes, did you raise the dead? They go, yes. He goes, but the car's okay. Like, yeah. He's like, I don't care. And he sits back down and watches TV.
So you talking about my old roommate and you as my roommate Craig actually brings up something that's off topic but kind of funny. I might be the only person in the world to ever root for University of Michigan one year and then the very next year root for Ohio State just because of my roommates, because I give absolutely zero fucks about football, right? And I go 2 years, like I come to college and I go, there's college football? What is this shit, right? And then I get
a man from Texas doesn't have opinions on tackle football, American tackle football,
Longhorn.
That's right. For me, that was my argument when I went to Tennessee. Everyone was like UT Tennessee, and I'm like, fuck that, it's Longhorns, like just to piss people off, right? So I literally lived 2 years. I was a University of Michigan fan. Fuck Ohio State. Fuck Michigan State. All this like go blue, right? And then Craig leaves me and I move in with a guy from Ohio who's an Ohio State fan. I'm like, all right, go Buckeyes. Cause fuck it, I don't care.
Like even those, like, you have your sports teams that you like, for the people that do like sports, you got your sports team that you like, but really, like, I don't give a shit that these people are liking the other ones. And when it comes to the game, it's just good fun to kind of like root against them and stuff like that. But I have no actual vitriol. It's just all trying to like, I'm either trying to make a joke or I just want to see the team win because it's fun because I grew up liking this team type thing. Past that, I'm like, if they actually like Michigan goes 0-12, I'm like, I don't fucking care. And then I find Tigers go 0-162, I'm like, who the fuck cares at the end of it?
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, maybe I just don't buy MLB TV next year because I don't want to watch it. It's a waste of money. But that's about the only effect I'm going to have in my life. Plus, I gain 3 hours. 3 times 162. So whatever that number is, I get that back in my life. So.
Well, it's funny that you say it like that because we were talking about the politics thing. I'd say I would almost rather talk politics than I would talk college football with certain people because oh my god, like you can
take out the college thing and just for me and just put football with an asterisk and like any type fantasy real don't care.
I'm talking about like rivalries between like where some people are like so diehard green, so diehard blue in Michigan, where it's like the with the Great Divide or whatever. And I almost got beat up at a bar over it. This is true story. A buddy, Juice, yeah, I know this is true story. So what happened is that our buddy Juice, his name's Josh, we call him Juice, whatever, we're real creative. Him and I go to a bar together, right? And he pulls his usual move. Now he's a very young looking guy, right? He's a few years younger than us, but he's a younger looking guy. So what he does is that he charms the waitresses. And specifically, they go, what do you want? And he's like, I don't really drink that much. he fucking does drink that much, and he knows, but he goes, I don't know. And they're like, oh, honey, let me take care of you. Here's a sampler. They bring him out a sampler thing for beers, right? Normally you get them and they're like, what? Maybe not even like
a swallow. Oh, there's nothing to it. Yeah,
barely a swallow. These are like half a beer a piece, and there's like 9 of them lined up in front of him, and he's just like, cool. How do you blah, 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 just downs all of them, and he's like, gee whiz, I don't know which one I like the most, and they're like, here's some more. And so the point is that early on in this time, we're at a sports bar, mind you, then a football game comes on the TV, and it is a big game for Michigan State. Now, he is a big time Michigan fan. So the Michigan State game is on. And for those
that don't know, that's a big rivalry.
Yeah. It's a huge rivalry. So the point is that like Michigan's not even playing at this point, right? So he looks up and they're playing against, I don't remember, just I'm going to say Wisconsin.
It was Wisconsin.
Okay, it's Wisconsin. So they're playing against Wisconsin, and he would just go, woo, go Wisconsin, in the middle of a bar in Michigan where everybody was there to watch the Michigan State game to root for State. And so people start looking over at him and I, and I'm like, just shut up, and like, kind of. And the waitress comes over, he goes, hey honey, did you just root for Wisconsin? And I go, no. He goes, and I shoot him the look like, you fucking shut your mouth. He's like, no. He's like, I said boo Wisconsin, not woo Wisconsin. And he just kept going, and he kept pushing his luck until I kind of read the room, and I was like, hey, time to cash out, we're out of here.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was me almost getting my ass beat over that. I don't think I could have took a whole bar. Probably not. No, I'm gonna go ahead and say no on that.
Gotcha.
But the only other one that I wanted to bring up was one that I know that Craig might share with me, and which is coffee.
Oh yeah.
I was never much of a coffee drinker, but I started drinking coffee. Did I tell this? Did I tell the story on here about how I started drinking coffee?
I don't recall it. But
did I ever tell that story on here?
No, I don't remember you ever saying it.
Okay, then I'll tell the story. I started drinking coffee because of a concert and a crash. And this is the true story of how Brian started drinking coffee.
It was a concert. Never mind.
So,
I thought it was going to be never mind.
No. So what had happened was that this is a number of years ago. I was working at a hospital, and I had to be in early in the morning. And it was a Friday, I think it was a Thursday. And my girlfriend at the time says, hey, I got tickets to this concert. We should go. I'm like, well, it's a Thursday night. I have to go to work tomorrow. Oh no, you'll be fine. The concert starts at 7 o'clock and we'll be done by like 10 o'clock at the latest. I'm like, all right, fine. First off, not true. Doors opened at like 9 o'clock and I didn't get home, I didn't leave from dropping her off till past like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So I'm driving back home, and all of a sudden I see these two little white things in the road ahead of me. And keep in mind, this is like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And as I approach, I realize that it's a person standing in the road, and it was their legs that I could see because they were wearing shorts, but I could only see their white legs. And I'm like, holy shit. So I slam on the brakes and don't hit the person. And they're just kind of standing there shuffling. Like if you've ever seen any zombie movie ever, like that's what it straight up looked like, because they weren't facing me and they were kind of rocking back and forth, like standing up. So I'm not gonna roll down my window. I'm just gonna kind of open the door and kind of step out a little bit. Like I go, hey, you okay? Turns around, covered in blood, face, everything just covered in blood.
It's like a fucking horror movie. Oh my god, I would fucking just drive away.
I'm like, I looked at the person.
Brian plows through and hits the person. He's like, back to them, undead motherfuckers.
And so the zombie apocalypse is happening.
It's real. It's all real. But the point is that I it was like it all happened at once, where I see that, then I also look over and I just now see way in the ditch to the right, his car is upside down and crunched, right?
Oh god.
Like, and I'm like, oh shit. So I put on my hazard lights and pull over, and I go over to the guy. I'm like, hey, come on over to the side of the road and sit down. And he was a young kid, college age, and he kept going, I got glass in my eye, And I'm like, I looked at him like, yeah, you sure as shit do. But the point is that I, of course, called 911 and all that sort of thing. And while I was waiting for the 911 to show up, two things happened, which were both memorable as well. Not to go too far into the story, but one of them was that he asked me to call his parents. So that was fun. I had to call his parents and let him know that their son was in a terrible car accident. We were waiting for EMTs to show up, and he was sitting on the side of the road bleeding. But he was fine though, Mom. You know what I mean? So I had to really so imagine I had to try to navigate that phone call. I'm like, hi, and the mom answers, hello, and I'm like, I go, hi, you don't know me, but listen, your son is okay. I'm letting you know that right now before we start, but he was in an accident. And then you hear her go, oh my God, I knew it. And, and she was yelling to her husband. Anyway, wow. But then the other thing was that the guy whose house the guy crashed in front of comes out, and he was literally something out of a fucking movie. You know how every time in those movies, you always see the guys come out in their boxer underwears and wearing the wife beater shirts? Mm-hmm. That was him. He literally came out in that, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, well, this kid almost died, and he comes over to the kid, and the kid's bleeding on the side of the road, and he's all upset, kind of thing. And the only thing this guy says is he looks at the kid, looks back at this crash car, and goes, hey, you hit my mailbox. And I'm like, no, you way. Asshole, you asshole. Like that's the only thing he said to the kid. But anyway, I say all that to preface the story that I didn't get home until, probably, very, very late, like 3:30, 4 o'clock is when I was, So I had to go to work. I had to get up in 2 hours, and I get into work, and I ended up basically almost passing out at my job. So I'm like, I'm not going to survive the day. What do I do? This is a crisis. And they always had offered me coffee there in this back room. They go, hey, there's coffee if you ever wanted it. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I need the caffeine. I'm just going to go and do this because I don't drink pop. So I went over there and I had the coffee. I poured in like 80% creamer and then 20% coffee, but I sucked it down. It definitely got me through the day. And what happened was I realized, hey, wait a minute. If it could propel me through a day when I was so far down, imagine what it could do for me when I'm fresh. And then so began the cycle of doom until I am now coffee dependent.
I love coffee.
Oh, I do too now.
I still do not like the taste of coffee. And
I drink it black.
I will put in 6 ounces of coffee, and then I'll put in about 3 ounces of fucking.
You're coming to the dark side.
So it's like 66% coffee and 33% creamer, basically, or maybe more, maybe less. But
you'll come to the
there.
dark roast side.
Oh, I love my coffee, man.
Who doesn't?
Oh, dude.
All right, do you guys want to just do some a lightning round of our final things that we have written down?
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, I'll start off with one. Anime in general.
I can do that.
I thought it was like I had heard of it. I'd seen people do it in
Chinese cartoons.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, Chinese cartoons. For everybody, that's a joke. We know it's not
a very big joke. I love anime.
Yeah. But that was one of the things where never really. I mean, because I didn't think about Dragon Ball being an anime back in the day.
I was going to ask, did you grow up watching that?
But I didn't really watch it all that much. Truthfully, I played the video games more than anything, so it was more of like a video game thing to me than it was
Japanese
an anime.
Cartoons.
But
okay.
The thing that got into
Chinese, whatever. My bad.
The thing that got me to where I was like, oh, this is a viable art form was Death Note.
Oh,
was watching that, and that was pretty late in the game. So that was the thing that I watched. And I was like, oh wow, that was pretty good.
Yep. All right. So my last one that I have would be NHL 16/17/15. Any of them. One, because I
slash the series. Because one, I don't like sports games or sports really besides soccer, the real football. Just because I don't care, right? So I was like, I one time like got on our Mumble channel and there was 5 guys in a room and they're like, I'm like, oh, what are y'all doing? Playing Chell. What the fuck is Chell? So you're playing NHL 17 because that's what it autocorrects to in the iPhone, right? So, or at least that's where I assume the word came from. No, just NHL, 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 NHL,
yeah,
Chell.
Yeah. Like literally because
you say NHL faster and faster. NHL.
It autocorrects to
sounds
Chell.
Like Chell
For me.
Oh, does it?
That's where I thought it came from. Interesting.
No, I always just did because, granted, I could be wrong, but that was what I always picked up because you say NHL.
Yeah,
NHL.
I can see it.
So, yeah,
anyway. But anyways, like playing, I haven't ever played the single player campaign, a game by myself, but I remember asking, do you want me to play goalie? they just laughed me out of the room, and I was like, okay, fine. 2 weeks later, I was there playing the goalie because it was so much fun. I thought I would hate the game. I bought the next year just because, the game's all right. But playing with 5 or 6 other guys, depending, or even 4, just on one team is a lot of fun. And I've had some of the most fun playing that game, and it's not even a game I really like. So.
No, I going off yours with the lightning round, Overwatch. I tried my best to hate it. When the beta came out on Xbox there, I downloaded it and I tried my best to play it and go, man, that sucked. I'm not going to spend $60 on a game that has no storyline. And I tried to mentally convince myself that I don't need it. I don't need it. And then it turned out I needed it. So,
and the reason why is because you saw the porn parody.
The what?
The porn parody of Overwatch.
That's a thing?
I really don't know. I'm sure
when the beta came out, they had a big problem because somebody cracked the assets and were able to 3D model them. Literally just take the 3D models.
I remember that controversy. You're right.
And then since the actual game has come out, there's been live action porn parodies.
What?
Of it. Yeah, there's one where there's who is it Reaper and Widowmaker.
Oh no!
Are the characters.
But he has a physical form. That doesn't even make sense in continuity.
just Overwatch was one of those as well, because you guys got me to jump on the very last day of the weekend that the beta was up, open beta for Xbox One, and I went through and played all 20 whatever characters there were at the time, 22, 21, whatever. 20 characters 21. At the whatever. I went through and played them all, and I really liked Mercy the first time through. I was like, oh, I could get used to that. Come to find out, it's like, oh yeah, it's because you can easily get in that mindset. And then Burke ended up playing her and he went fucking beyond what I thought was possible with her. Anyway, but I didn't think, I was like, I'm not going to like that. But it wasn't as much I don't like it as much as you do. So I didn't even have that on my list because it's still one of those things it's fun, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not great fun. One of the things that I did not think I was going to end up liking was Guitar Hero. I remember the first time I heard of Guitar Hero, it was when we were in college, Burke. We were in our room and people came in with it and I was like, the hell is this? A little plastic guitar? How stupid is this game? This is really stupid. And then the guy was going away for the weekend, and so he left it. He was like, I'll leave this in your room with you guys, with me and you, Burke. I remember. And he left it there, and I sat there and played it over the weekend or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, that was kind of fun, but really wasn't anything. And then Guitar Hero 2 came out, and it was for the 360, and I had a 360, and the first one was only for the PS1. And I was like, I'll get this. That was kind of fun. Maybe I'll have a little bit of fun with it. And then I think most of you know the rest of the story, where that was that Rock Band. I played all of those, tried to go through in full combo, or FC, which is hit every note and never make a mistake, basically through songs on expert on multiple
I have
instruments, and I just had a ton of fun with that.
Oh my, such a beautiful song though.
No, it is. If you've only heard it a couple times, Burke, but when
I know.
These guys come over to my house. They come over to my house, him and Tony, and they plug into the fucking big screen, and I'm trying to play any other goddamn game, and I hear I hate. Oh, I hated it. I hated it so much. But sorry, I got a little angry there.
No, I never got into it like Craig, because one, I don't know, my fingers aren't coordinated. But as soon as they added voice to, was it Rock Band that did that first? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Of course, that was after we had moved out together, and I was living with the Ohio State guy, or at least right next door. And that's what we would do. We would go full band. One guy guitar. Sometimes I would play bass and sing, and then we had Pookie on drums. I love Pookie's name. That's just sorry.
I have the only other one I was going to add in for myself was the headsets, video game headsets in general.
Oh yeah.
I was never a person to wear them. They looked cumbersome. They looked expensive, and I just was like, they really can't be that great. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where in my head, if they don't package it with the system, why would you need it to play on the system? Kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so when I was over visiting Craig last was it August or whatever it was? I said we were down there, and he goes, "Here, try these on." And I tried them on, and I played with them the entire week I was down there. I was like, God, this changes everything, because you could hear everything.
You could hear people spawn.
Well, you can hear them spawn. You can hear footsteps. You can you hear.
You can hear the type of footsteps. So like in Overwatch, you can hear which
Overwatch
character is
so
coming up behind you.
sound-centric, and realistically, probably getting the headset at that time is the reason that I was able to get to the rank that I was, because that was between August and December was like when I made my biggest gains as far as like skill in that. So I bet you that the headset had like a lot to do with that. So that was one of mine.
I have a couple games that I can list off right here that I can kind of go through real quick on them. Dark Souls, thought I was going to hate that. The Demon Souls one was the initial. And then started playing Dark Souls, and it just became one of those, like, I really love the difficulty of it.
And then, I can talk to that too. Like when I lived with my cousin, like you were into Demon Souls and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And I was with my cousin, and we ended up just playing through the night till the sun came up. So I feel you on Dark Souls.
Rocket League, another one. I thought it was going to end up a waste of money on purchase, but the funny thing is I wanted to get it because I wanted to like it, but I thought for sure I was going to hate this. I was like, this is stupid. Just it's like I'm playing a Mario Party mini game, and I'm paying full money for it. And now it's probably my second most played game on my Xbox One behind Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, I think it's on this. Yeah, it's fairly close on mine too. But I really wanted to buy it. I was
Castlevania was on there as well. I didn't think I was going to like that, or Harmony of Despair, which is really what got me into it. Brian and I playing through on that when we were living together. Playing through that when Brian and I were living together.
That was a lot of fun.
Civilization Revolution, another one Brian got me into. I didn't think I was going to like that one.
Actually, that's three things that I got you into on this. It's the Civ Rev, Castlevania, and I'd say I showed you Death Note.
Yep. And Lego Jurassic Park was the last one I had written down. My wife, the Lego games are fun. Like Burke and I played the Lego games, the Star Wars ones, and we had a lot of fun with it. Yeah. And then the Lego one came out, and I was like, oh, this will be, because I did the Batman ones before then. I didn't really like them. I didn't play them fully. I just played them a little bit, and that was it. And then my wife was like, oh, let's get the Lego Jurassic Park, because she's obsessed with Jurassic Park. I was like, okay, we'll get this. It'll be a fun game for us to kind of play through, but I'll probably just kind of push myself through it just to get a couple of achievements for the fun of it, and then I'll be done with it. And we ended up going through and 100%ing the game.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Just dip our toes in the water. We're not going to go for a full swim today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only other thing I had listened out was Civ Rev, and the only and mine wasn't because of Brian. Mine was because I had played the full version PC games, and I was like, this is going to be a dumbed down, stupid version that was really a lot of fun.
Isn't it?
Yeah, It's probably one of the best ones, probably the ones I've played the most. And out of all the civilizations,
we should play this sometime. The three of us.
I'd be up for that.
I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that.
A little scotch and Civ Rev.
Sure, why not?
Oh man!
And some sushi, please.
Oh, scotch and sushi,
sushi and Civ Rev. The three sounds.
Oh man. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap up this week by looking back and saying, I guess the past us got dunked on.
Laugh, bitches.